Hello and welcome to the Family Table. The Family Table is a teaching kitchen owned and operated by the Salvation Army Harrisburg. My name is Megan Zook and I'm a registered dietitian and the Community Health and Nutrition Coordinator for the Family Table. Welcome! If this is your first time joining us and you're tuning into our 6th lesson today, please pause this video. You have a lot of catching up to do. Go watch our 1st, 2nd, 3rd, 4th, and 5th videos. Then come back and join us here. This is the 6th and final video in the Eat Healthy, Be Active curriculum series. So if you have watched every single video, congratulations, give yourselves a pat on the back. This is a huge accomplishment to have taken yourself through 6 weeks of our curriculum, and I'm really proud of you all. So today's final lesson is focused on physical activity, which is a theme that we've been talking more and more about because it is also very important for us to participate in physical activity in order to live a healthy lifestyle. Even if we may have never done physical activity in our lives, it's never too late to start, and it's definitely still going to give us plenty of benefits that our body will just love having. So, a couple of reminders before we get started with our lesson today. Please like, share, and comment on this video so that we know that you're here with us today. Also, please like our Facebook and Instagram pages at the Family Table Harrisburg. Okay, so as a warm-up today, we were going to, if we had a class in person, I was going to do bingo with you all, but we're virtual and you're watching from home, so I want you to look at the first handout in your handout packet that starts on page 15. The link to the handouts is in the URL code that's in the comment section of this video. So what I want you to do is look at this Find Someone Who sheet. There are different exercises listed on the sheet. What do you do on this sheet to stay physically active? Circle that. What do you want to do, or what could you challenge yourself to start doing to participate in more physical activity than what you're currently doing? Because I think that I could speak for all of us and say we could all squeeze in a little more physical activity, and I certainly want more physical activity in my life. I just sometimes get busy and honestly a little bit lazy. So what could you push yourself to try doing to have more physical activity in your life? Put a star by those boxes, and then put this somewhere where you can see it every day so that you're motivated and challenged to do more physical activity. Okay, so let's get started with our lesson today. Today's workshop and handouts will give you tips for losing weight and maintaining a healthy weight. This workshop is based on the Dietary Guidelines for Americans and the Physical Activity Guidelines for Americans. The dietary guidelines provide science-based advice for making food choices that promote good health and a healthy weight and help prevent disease. The Physical Activity Guidelines provides recommendations on the amount, types, and level of intensity of physical activity needed to achieve and maintain good health. Our objectives for today will be the following. Name 2 benefits of physical activity and the specific recommendations for aerobic and strengthening activities. And 2, complete at least 2 strength training activities. Okay, so we are going to look at page 19 in your handouts. So page 19 is called Be Active Your Way, a fact sheet for adults. So, if you haven't done physical activity for a while or ever, it might seem rather intimidating to start a physical activity routine, and you probably don't even know where to start. I recommend starting by picking an activity that's easy to fit into your life. So similar to meal planning, sit down, plan out your days, right, Monday through Sunday, and think about when you have little amounts of time where you could squeeze in some physical activity. Now, let's just go over some of the benefits so that you gain some motivation to actually sit down and find this time throughout your week. So physical activity increases our chances for living longer. It decreases the risk of heart disease, type 2 diabetes, high blood pressure, high cholesterol, stroke, and some types of cancer. It helps you sleep better, fight depression, build strength, maintain a healthy weight, and it's fun. The recommendations, as a reminder, are for adults to get at least 2 hours and 30 minutes each week of moderate intensity physical activity, Or if you participate in vigorous activity, you only need 1 hour and 15 minutes each week. Also, we have a recommendation for muscle strengthening activities. So adults should do muscle strengthening activities at least 2 days a week. As a helpful tip, when you're sitting down and thinking about starting a physical activity routine, don't go too overboard. You don't want to do something or plan something that's just unachievable. Like any goal, start small and work up to more and more. Also remember that if you haven't been physically active, you probably want to be cleared for physical activity by your doctor. And then again, start small so that your muscles have a chance to be accustomed to the physical activity that you're doing and so that you're not too sore. If you end up too sore, you just might not go back to doing that physical activity ever again, which wouldn't be good. So how do you know if you're doing moderate intensity versus vigorous intensity physical activities? Well, I have a list here to share with you about the moderate versus the vigorous physical activities. So generally speaking, moderately intense activities are things that you can do and carry on a conversation with a friend, but you probably couldn't sing. So your voice would quiver a lot if you tried to sing while you did a moderate intensity activity, but you can still chat with a friend. Vigorous intensity activities are activities where you can barely spit out a couple of words to your friends because you're huffing and puffing and just really working on getting in oxygen and expelling CO2. That's vigorous intensity. So moderate intensity could be walking. Vigorous intensity would be running. When you walk, you can talk. When you run, unless you are a really well-trained runner, you can't talk very well. At least I can't. Some other examples of moderate intensity activity are ballroom and line dancing, biking on a level ground with few hills. Many people think biking is a more vigorous activity, but actually riding a bike is fairly simple. The bike does a lot of work for you, especially if you are on just a flat ground. That completely changes when you start going up and down hills, though. Canoeing, gardening, sports where you catch and throw, like baseball, softball, volleyball, tennis, hand cycler machines, if you're familiar with that, using a manual wheelchair, walking briskly, and water aerobics are all moderate intensity activities. So if you participated in those, you would want to get 2 hours and 30 minutes of those activities each week. Vigorous intensity activities include aerobic dance, biking faster than 10 miles an hour or biking up and down hills, fast dancing, heavy gardening like digging or hoeing, hiking uphill, jump rope, which is a really cheap, if you purchase a jump rope, that's a very cheap thing to purchase, piece of equipment, and you get such a good workout from a jump rope. Martial arts, race walking, for all those people who are race walking, it's a vigorous activity. Jogging or running, any sports that require a lot of running like basketball, hockey, soccer, and swimming fast or swimming laps or tennis singles. So moderate intensity tennis would be if you're playing doubles, but if it's just you, that's a single tennis player, it's a vigorous intensity activity. So there's some examples for us. Now let's talk about muscle strengthening activities. So you're supposed to do these 2 days a week, and there's not really a recommendation for how much time you should put into these each day, each week. Or your 2 times each week. So muscle strengthening activities, you really don't need to have equipment. You could work with some cans of vegetables or fruits that you have around your house. You could also purchase an inexpensive resistance band, or of course you could purchase your own set of hand weights. All of those things would be helpful for your muscle strengthening activities. Also, there are quite a few exercises that don't require any equipment at all. However, if you're wanting to preserve your joints and maybe not do body weight exercises that have a lot of jumping in them, you might want to invest in a resistance band or in some small weights. Okay, so just to go over a couple of examples of the different body groups that you might want to think about working during your muscle strengthening activities. You want to work on your legs, you want to work on your core, you want to work on your back, you want to work on your shoulders, your biceps, and your triceps. Those are just some general body groups to start with, all right? And you don't necessarily need to do all of those every week, but that's just some things to keep in mind. Those are some major places where you have some big, heavy working muscle groups. So for legs, very easy exercises you can always do with your legs is a squat like this, or a lunge like this. And I'm wearing jeans, so that gets a little bit hard. But pretty much when you do those exercises, you don't necessarily need weights because that requires a lot of effort. And you'll notice when you do leg exercises, these legs are really big muscles in your body, you'll start to lose your breath. So you'll be doing a muscle strengthening activity that also ends up being that moderate or vigorous intensity cardio activity. So killing two birds with one stone there. Okay? Now, if you were interested in back exercises, take 2 cans from your cupboard, bend over at the waist, hinge your arms a little bit so that they're not straight, just pull them in, and squeeze your shoulder blades together. That'll work on some muscles for your back. Shoulder exercises could be front raises and side raises, okay? And you don't want to come above your shoulder because you don't want to damage any of those muscles. If you're interested in bicep work, curls are great and easy bicep activities. Tricep work, if you pull up your arm like this, tuck your elbow back and swing. Don't move that elbow, but just swing back. That's a great tricep exercise. And then to work your abs, you would lie down on the ground. You could do crunches, you could do forward crunches or reverse crunches. I am not certified to give you too much information about physical activity, so if you have very specific questions, please talk with a personal trainer or somebody who has a degree in giving physical activity advice. If you're simply curious about finding other exercises to put into your muscle strengthening activities, research it on the internet. There's lots of different places where you can find good ideas for what to do during the week. Again, start slow, especially with muscle strengthening activities, because if your muscles aren't used to doing them, you're gonna be sore. It is also okay to be a little bit sore, and that's completely normal. Just give yourself a day or so of rest in between your muscle strengthening activities. Don't overwork your muscles. Page 21 is also a good guide for learning more about muscle strengthening exercises. It gives some more examples of how to work your muscles without buying weights, like filling a plastic milk jug with sand or water, filling a sock with dried beans, and like I did, using cans of vegetables. Also, if you're interested in working with the resistance band, there's a little guide about how to wrap a resistance band, because it gets a little bit tricky. And then again, how much and how often. So there is a little bit of a starter guide there if you're interested in learning more about how to do muscle strengthening activities. And page 22, again, talks about safety. So please talk with your doctor before you start an exercise routine, or if you're unsure about doing a particular exercise, remember to breathe while you're exercising. Practice proper form, and if you have questions about that, again, talk to somebody who is certified in giving physical activity advice. Okay, and then a front arm raise and a side arm raise are also shown there, and you can see that there's actually also muscle strengthening exercises that you can do while sitting. So reason with me here and talk to me. Help me understand. Why haven't you done physical activity thus far? Or why haven't you done as much as you've wanted to? What have been some of the barriers in your way? Are you not motivated to do physical activity? Because if you need some motivation to get your butt moving, you can call on me and I'll talk to you. Are you unsure of what to do? Are you feeling that there's so much craziness going on in your life that where on earth would you find the time to be physically active? Remember, you're an adult and you make the decisions, you call the shots, okay? So if you're committing to something that is not enjoyable and is taking up some of your time and you want to instead add physical activity into those times, it's up to you to make those decisions and make those choices. It's up to you to break down some of those barriers that can be moved, shifted, and tweaked. That would essentially be taking physical activity and moving it up on your priority list, which is really something that I would encourage you to try doing. Also, we don't need to exercise a ton each and every single day. Remember, if you're doing moderate intense physical activity, it's just 2 hours and 30 minutes a week. That's one 30-minute walk 5 days a week. Can you do that? That's with 2 off days, or you don't have to do anything. And then muscle strengthening activities can be paired anytime. Also, you don't have to do all 30 minutes at the same time. So you can do a 10-minute walk in the morning, at midday, and in the afternoon. There's lots of different options. Don't shut the idea down of doing more physical activity because it just seems like something you can't squeeze in. I know I'm a planner. We've talked about making grocery lists and meal plans before. So page 25 is a really good aerobic and strengthening activities log. If charting or making a plan about something is going to motivate you and help keep you accountable. So take a look at that log and try using it if it would be something that would be helpful for you. Page 27 shows us how many calories our physical activity burns. This would be helpful for somebody who is interested in losing weight and wants to use physical activity as one of the methods to lose weight along with altering their diet. So you can see that with moderate physical activities, they burn a little bit less calories than vigorous physical activities, but still you're burning calories. So men and women also burn calories different, okay? And also notice here that this is the approximate number of calories burned in just 10 minutes. So you're trying to get 30 minutes a day, 5 days a week of moderate physical activities. So that 50 to 80 for men is going to be tripled, and that 40 to 60 for women is going to be tripled as well. Also remember that it just takes a deficit of 500 calories a day to see 1 pound of weight loss each week. Last but not least, let us talk about our older adults in the room. So physical activity might seem rather daunting. If you're an older adult and you may have never practiced physical activity, nobody's talked about it, it wasn't something emphasized when you were growing up. So how do you start doing something and be safe? Well, let's talk about the benefits of physical activity for older adults. And you'll see here, there's a Be Active Your Way as You Get Older worksheet on page 29. Okay? So regular physical activity is essential for healthy aging. Being physically active can help you stay strong and independent as you grow older. Performing your muscle strengthening activities and your cardio activities is only going to benefit you as you age because it's going to help your balance and it's going to help you continue to do daily things like sit down and stand up, walk around, all things that everybody should be able to do and we want to be able to do for as long as we can. So all older adults should also avoid inactivity. Some physical activity is better than none. And older adults who participate in any amount of physical activity do gain health benefits. Again, being physically active can help you stay strong and independent as you grow older. It will also make it easier for you to enjoy other activities such as shopping at the grocery store, going up the stairs, or playing with grandchildren. Older adults need the same amount of physical activity as adults and should do both aerobic and muscle strengthening physical activity. Balance exercises like yoga can also reduce your risk for falls. Review this handout for ways to be physically active and choose activities you enjoy and start with just 10 minutes at a time. If you also have a chronic condition and are just starting to be physically active, talk with your doctor for more guidance about how to get started safely. To wrap things up today, again, I just want to say I'm so proud of you all for sticking with this 6-week series and really starting to think about and hopefully make some healthy changes in your lives. I'm honored that you watched these 6 videos with me, and I hope we see you soon, either in person or in one of our other virtual classes. Thank you so much. I'm proud of you. Great job.